This Friday, we're hitting all the topics here. We'll get to NFL in a little bit. We barely touched on the NFL weekend. So much to talk about. Cuse and Purdue. As we finish up our game preview this week, we bring in our regular Friday guest, and we'll find out if Eric is right today tomorrow, because Eric will also be with us on the postgame show tomorrow. As always, here is Eric Dungey. Welcome in, Eric. And, I wanted to start you with this one. The tough news last night, and I think we all knew this might be the case after the game Saturday, that Dave Willaba is out for the season. What is it like for you as a quarterback, Eric, when the line in front of you isn't the same every week? It's not to say it's good or bad, but when it's changing, what does that do for you from a quarterback perspective?
You know what? I mean, you don't let it get to you too much on game day. Throughout practice, you start to notice it a little more. I feel like with, false starts or something along the lines of that, or just the guys not meshing right, they notice it more so in the room because they're either stepping on each other's toes. That's a common complaint that I've heard, figuratively and literally. So from that standpoint, and also just, as a quarterback, you don't really think about too much. You trust that the five guys in front of you during the game are going to get the job done, and you're more so focused on what the defense is doing and trying to find a guy open. And if somebody leaks through in the backfield, you're not blaming somebody at that moment. You're just trying to make a play and get out of harm's way. So it's a bummer, but it sounds like they got some guys that are willing to step up and that will step up and are chomping at the bit to get in there. And I think that they're gonna do well, and they might have some hiccups here and there. Essentially first game jitters all over again with this new five that they're gonna have in there meshing together. But I think they'll get it done and they'll find a way.
Yeah, we don't know what the five is going to be yet, but I know this. So whatever the five is has no significant real game, legit opponent experience together. Whatever it is, it's going to be kind of new in a big time game. Take me back, Eric. Your senior year, you had the same five in front of you all year long, which was not always the case before then. Did you notice the difference the other way when you knew everyone knew what was what? What was the difference your senior year with that?
I'm thinking back to sophomore year Wake Forest. We had a whole new offensive line in there, and I just remember I felt like before I even had the snap or the ball in my hand, I had somebody in my lap, and that was just from guys. We had a young guy at center. We had some new guards and a new tackle, and that's really the only time I've ever realized it. And that just affects you to a whole nother level because you're just looking down as opposed to your eyes being up downfield. Your eyes are down at the center shoes. All right, where is the pressure coming from? And it really affects your game from that standpoint. But from my senior year, having five guys in there, I never even thought twice about it. I would just give them the protection and just know, all right, they're going to pick it up, and I'm responsible for whether it be the end man on the line of scrimmage coming or the middle linebacker, whoever my guy was that I'm responsible for. I got to take care of him because I know the five guys in front of me are going to take care of the other one. So.
Your sophomore year at Wake, I think that was also the hurricane game, so there was not a lot good going on. My shoes are still wet. It's 7 years later. But with a game like that, Eric, it's not to put blame on anybody, especially for you and Garrett, both mobile guys. Are you almost pre-planning your bailout? Are you okay, stuff's coming at me, I got to be ready to move now before it comes in my lap?
You got an escape route. And usually if the pressure's coming from your left side as a right-handed quarterback, you're going to sit in there a little longer. The pressure's coming. You're going to kind of do a little front step, and then you're going to escape out the back door and try to do a little wing about and just making play on the edge. A lot of the times these defenses for mobile quarterbacks, they're taught, hey, contain them in the pocket, don't let them get outside, force them to, escape out the front door, which essentially is, where the center and the guard are, and try to have the linebackers rally from that standpoint. Because a quarterback, especially a mobile quarterback, when they get out on the edge, they can be dangerous because not only are they a running threat, but the defensive backs and the safeties, they can't cover for more than 2 or 3 seconds, and guys are going to break down, and that's where you get those big plays like we saw against Donovan Brown last week, where he took 80+ yards. So from that standpoint, you got an escape plan as a quarterback, and Schrader's very mobile, and I'm sure he's always got in the back of his head, he's going to go through his reads, and then he's like, all right, well, if nobody's there, I'm going to take it myself. And what's the quickest alley? Well, I got a new guy here. All right, maybe I could probably should favor his side or favor the other side as opposed to where the pressure is. It's also KYP, know your personnel. So if it's an edge rusher, if it's a nose tech, or if it's a slower guy, we'd always see the 40 times the size. So if I knew I had, a 4.7 guy or a 4.8 guy, I mean, he might be the same speed as me. Schrader, much faster. So Schrader can get the edge on him. But if you had a guy who who's a 5-second, you're like, all right, I can get away from this guy. I can take my time, keep my eyes downfield.
I just looked up the Wake box score. We'll leave the names out to protect the innocent. We'll leave it in the past, Eric. We'll leave it in the past. If anyone wants to find it, you can go find it. It's out there, but we'll leave that. It was a name I had forgotten that existed, and there we are.
Yeah.
Okay, so this week we're presuming Arande's not going to play. We haven't heard it officially, Eric, but I'd say that's a rather safe bet that Arande's a no-go this game. How confident are you in the rest of the group right now? Because I'm feeling better about the rest. The not number one guy this year. Probably since you were here. I mean, it's been a minute since there's been a second, third, fourth option that we've seen to start this year.
Yeah, and I think Isaiah Jones is going to be that guy. He's quickly emerged, and you like size. He's got good hands, and he can make some plays afterward. And then Donovan Brown, expect to be the guy underneath, maybe the dink and dunk guy, and you can drop it off to have him run a hitch or have him run a little under route, get him the ball in space and see what he can do, and get that track speed, as he likes to say, on the turf or grass, wherever you may be playing. And I just think we'll see LaQuint Allen utilized a little bit more in the pass game here. Having got a lot of success with him, more so in the run game up between the tackles. So I think he's going to be really dangerous outside if they can do a check down to him, if Schrader's able to get the time, if that new 5 is able to hold up for that long, so he can go to his third or fourth read. I'm excited, though. I think it's going to be a bigger test. They're going to have adversity is definitely going to strike. I know Syracuse hasn't been in any, really competition this season so far. So I want to see how they respond to that adversity, whether it's, a close game or if they're down a score, see how they strike back and if they come together, or how that will mold them.
I got a chat with Donovan Brown. You mentioned him coming up on our pregame coverage tomorrow. I asked him about the speed because he is a track guy. He was a state champion in Maryland in both the 200 and 400 meters, and very good in the 100 as well. On that touchdown, he was out there with LaQuint. DeMarcus Adams was flanking him. He said he's willing to race those guys. I feel that's only the answer, right? If you know you're the fastest of the group, right? Like you're ready to line up if you know you're going to beat the other guy.
Anytime they're willing to race at any moment, they got some confidence in their speed. So I'm questioning Donovan Brown on his speed and quickness.
Yeah, I'd say him versus DeMarcus, like literally on a track. DeMarcus ran track for a year at Florida State, so like that's legit speed too. If you're on the actual track at FSU, they don't play around with that stuff. But we got Eric Dungey here. It is our weekly Friday visit with Eric, and you said it. This is going to be the first test. Nothing against Colgate or Western Michigan, but we know how those games went, and it was save for the one play with Western, they were over quick. 7:30, prime time, lights, NBC, Big Ten game, a team you had a crazy game against last year. How does that hit you guys? Locker room, tunnel, crowd cheering against you. How do you handle that moment, those last couple of minutes before kickoff?
Yeah, there's definitely going to be some hostility, and now it's at Purdue's place, so they definitely remember it. The fans remember it from last year, and it's a new team, but it's that sour taste in their mouth, and they're going to do everything they can to give their team a home field advantage. And Hudson Card, he's kind of finding his stride there. It's always new when you come into a new program and you're learning a new offense with different receivers. It looks like he's got. I wrote down with T.J. Sheffield and Max Clare. He's kind of starting to find his stride. He's a runner too, so you got to watch out for that. I think and again, I keep saying I know he's going to be the best quarterback Syracuse has faced thus far in the season. Not to knock the other guys, but he's got the most experience and most agile, and he's got one of the stronger arms that they're going to see. So secondary is going to get some work as well as that front line, but they're not good. They're great. That defense they're tough. And I'm excited to see how they handle a superior opponent and some better guys up front and better receivers in the back end. And Devin Maccabee, I mean, he's a vet here, so he knows how to tote the rock a little bit. And I'm excited for Syracuse to kind of just welcome him back, kind of give him flashbacks from last season. So this will be a good one.
Yeah, Maccabee didn't do a ton last year. He was a freshman at the time. He had 31 yards, but he had a nice game last week at Virginia Tech with 95 yards in that strange game that took like 10 hours to finish because of the weather delay in the middle. You mentioned Card, pretty big time recruit. He's from Austin, Texas. He stayed home. He went to Texas. I think he was a 4-star guy. He got he won the job a couple of times, or at least he had it a couple of times for a short periods, and it always went away from him. What are you seeing from this guy? How ready do you think he is for the moment? Because obviously, Purdue's competition has been, I don't want to say it's been like crazy good, but it's definitely been superior to what Syracuse has dealt with the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, Fresno State, they're solid. Virginia Tech is always just kind of, you never know what you're going to get from Virginia Tech, whether it's going to be a lights out show or whether they're just going to play with their lights out. So it's different, and they've faced good opponents. So it's the third game now. They're ready, and like I said, they had some growing pains in the first couple of games, and they're finally starting to come together as a team. Syracuse has basically just had some rollovers and some breezy games there. So it's going to be a good test, and it's just they're going to come out swinging from the very first play. They're going to come out swinging, and I know Syracuse is ready for a fight, but they haven't been hit in the face yet. So that's
right.
You always got to plan until you get hit in the face, and how are you going to respond? And coaches are going to have to come up with new game plans on the fly and adjust to what they're seeing out there. It's going to be crowd noise. The Lions had some false starts even at home, so they're definitely going to have to lock in whether they go silent count. I don't know if it's going to be that loud. I think it holds 57,000. I'd be shocked if they get 40, 45 in there, maybe. But you never know. I mean, it can be loud. Look at the dome. Even the dome with 27,000 can be, petrifying to your ears. So we're in for an exciting one. It's going to be one of the more entertaining games to watch here for Syracuse football fans. I know that we always want to see the W, but sometimes, you want some entertainment as well. And I'm hoping that we can come out on the right side of it.
Eric, I'm going to shock you right now. The game is sold out tomorrow night. They've sold it out.
Well,
so it is sold out. So assuming they all show up, it'll be a show there.
Okay. Well, then I am wrong on that sense. Apologize to the Purdue fans. I did sit by somebody who went to Purdue, and they said that they love their football out there no matter what. So I'll eat my words on that one.
Yeah, they've sold it out, and they haven't done a lot of night games. They're kind of new to literally having lights in the stadium. It's within the last decade they've been permanent. So this is they're just that's what they did in the Big Ten. They just it's noon, let's play football. Last thought before we let you go, Eric. Rocky Long, he's had it dialed up. They've been coming after you. You think the aggression stays this high when the danger will be higher? I got a feeling Rocky's still going to be bringing the heat this week.
I hope so. I hope he doesn't change. That was always the most frustrating part, is if something's working, don't fix it. And I'm hoping that he still dials up that pressure, and that's their persona now. You're gonna get the pressure on them, make the quarterback make a play, and understand, hey, we're here all night, we're not going anywhere. Once you hit the quarterback 3 or 4 times, especially early in the game, it's going to be in their mind, and it'll change the way they play. But if you're able to let him sit back there and pick you apart, he's going to get some confidence. So you really want to just knock him off his high chair soon.
All right, man. Good stuff, Eric. Always good to chat, and I'll see you tomorrow night. Okay.
Thanks, Ryan.
All right, Eric Dungey will be with me on the post-game show tomorrow night. Be sure to give us a ring after the game, and you can chat with me and Eric. Looking forward to that. With that, we'll take a break. Little 4-on-1 in the 3-on-5, our Friday NFL whip-around with Tim. That is next. It is QSportsTalk.com and ESPN Radio.